Mech pilots, online. BattleTech manuals, online. Long-term memory, offline. All systems bungled. Initiating BungleTech podcast.
In our 37th episode of BungleTech, a BattleTech podcast that we've released on our most cherished of Star League days, we take some time to share some thanks. As well, an important update about the global campaign. And then, we chat about our time well spent at KSAGG VI. It's a simple episode, released at a busy time. Let's chill out, MechWarriors, take some time to appreciate all the things, and contemplate the strange wisdom in the Firemoth is already behind me. It's not like it can get any more behind me. Strap in, MechWarriors.
Bonus objective. Extraordinary proclamation. Initiating.
Incoming transmission of important message from extremely important person.
Ahem. Clan fellows, on this sacred Star League day, we take pause to reflect on our clan's aspirations, perseverance, and great strength. With this last year has come many tribulations, but indeed many successes. With every kicked Kodama replaced by a swarm seeking vengeance. Warriors and kin, we stand upon the precipice of destiny, and the winds of Kerensky's vision howl in triumph. For our clan grows stronger, not merely in number, but in spirit, as we welcome two who have proven themselves worthy of our banner. Bondspersons Sven Bertram, you have cast aside the chains of your former allegiance and sworn fealty to our clan. Your blood and honor are now entwined with ours. You are no longer an outsider, but a brother in arms, bound to our destiny. May your courage and loyalty in battle shine as brightly as the stars that guide our path. Technician Jack Lambert, you join us not with a weapon in hand, but with the tools of craft and the wisdom of innovation. Know this, the armor of our Omnimechs and the fire of our war machines are nothing without the minds and hands that shape them. You are the lifeblood of our war effort, the unseen strength that ensures our warriors stride into combat with certainty. In you we see not a servant, but a pillar upon which our clan's glory rests. And it is not only their glory we revel today, for we have just witnessed a battle worthy of telling in our remembrance. On the field, during Operation KSAGG, we brought together our most valiant warriors, the cream of the crop that had risen to the top, for a war game focused on applying advanced tactical operations on the battlefield. And it was glorious. Levi, Jackal, Ray, Rame, and the Wrecking Rejects made up Team Clan, and Classic Klint, Vogel, Faber, Jimmy Bears, Jimbot, and Samuel Montgomery made up Team Kodama. It was a tactical battle of the ages, showcasing the very best of what the clans can offer, with techniques rarely seen applied throughout our galaxy. To you, valiant warriors that partook in these games, our revelers grow telling stories of your performance, your beautiful tactical awareness, and finesse-filled operations. Although only one of you reigned supreme, know that it was a victory not for Team Clan or Team Kodama, but for Clan Kodama. Your zeal on the battlefield will be remembered forever.
Extremely important message over. End important transmission.
Before we get into our episode, a quick update regarding the global campaign. Mission 10 is out. MechWarriors, we did it. 10 missions released over the course of 10 months, all on time. And for the last mission, we've an extra special surprise. The audio briefings for track Alpha, Beta, and Gamma have been recorded by the heroic Big Red, Sven Vanderplank, and Tex. Get ready to wrap up your Tables campaign in an epic fashion. A huge thanks to these creators for volunteering their time in this endeavor. We couldn't ask for a better way to bring Season 1 of the global campaign to a close. If you're behind on your missions, MechWarrior, no worries at all. Their briefings will be there for you when you reach them in the outrageous conclusion of Season 1 of the Global Campaign Initiative.
The conflict on Galatea continues to escalate as gang violence has intensified and skirmishes have broken out between mercenary units in the city and surrounding areas. Even in these violent times, however, there are tales of grit and heroism. Reports have become sparse from the embattled world as the growing humanitarian crisis has taken the forefront. Mercenary forces on world are dwindling, with several having officially disbanded, and even more have ceased filing MRBC updates, either due to their destruction, dissolution, or simply trying to lay low as the conflict flares out. Planetary officials have announced the arrival of fresh bonded mercenary units from off-world, which have been contracted to restore order, although analysts say it may take decades for Galaport to recover. As a sign of the times, one of the more prominent gangs from Galatea City, Claw and Order, is reported to have been completely destroyed after a series of disastrous engagements with several active mercenary units, including the Men of La Mancha, the 108th Legion of Razgriz, and Explosive Enterprises. Battlefield reports are that Claw and Order's adversaries engaged with extreme prejudice, killing multiple pilots with headshots and scrapping all active C&O mechs. Dwindling supplies have also hit the contracted companies, as shown by this trio sent to us by local resident Gus Shaw. A battered lance of Men of La Mancha mechs on the march, including this limping executioner with a fused hip actuator. After all the other mechs step over this small embankment, the executioner pilot tries once before just firing up the jump jets and hopping over the ledge. That's a pilot who's had enough, but I don't want to have to listen to his mech tech's lecture about riding the jump throttle. That's all for now, and these are tales of heroism in the sphere.
Primary objective, podcast topic segment, initiating.
Hello, venerable listener, and welcome to episode 37 of BungleTech, a BattleTech podcast, the last episode of Season 3, Year 3 of our crazy podcast. I'm excited to be joined today by my co-host who has not abandoned me yet, somehow, the alluring Michael. Hello, Michael.
You already used alluring in our previous recording attempt.
They didn't know that until you mentioned it, Michael.
I'm throwing you under the bus, Nathan. We're doing a third one around.
The seductive Michael.
I don't know. That one sounds familiar. I feel like you've done that one before, but
Spicy, sweaty, sensual.
Well, let's go back to
sexy.
Alluring. I'll take alluring, please.
The alluring Michael. Oh, Michael. 3 years, man. 3 years being nerds on the internet. Officially, we've been nerds on the internet for much longer than that,
Yep.
but
Yep.
nerds that have publicly shared their opinions on the internet.
And I really need to lobby for us to, like, I don't know, skip a month next year, or just like number, like one of our episodes will be like 41 and a half, because the fact that we did 13 episodes in our first year has ruined everything forever.
I agree. Perhaps we should skip January. Looking for a break? Oh.
No breaks here. No breaks on the bungle train.
That's right. As soon as we take one break, everything's going to fall apart, Michael. That's how it works. We got to stay on target.
You know, maybe the messed up numbering is part of the theme. It's on brand.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, Michael, everything's so positive all of a sudden. I love it. So, Michael, speaking of positivity and positive vibes, what did we do this month?
Well, we just got back a couple weeks ago, as of when this recording came out, from KSAGG VI, the Minnesota local-ish BattleTech convention-ish. I should have probably looked up how they self-describe, so I don't offend anyone here, but I don't know. We went to the weird Minnesota BattleTech event and had a good time.
I'm pretty sure they don't use the terms weird or ish in their marketing, but maybe next year they can. Welcome to KSAGG VII, the weirdish BattleTech event. It was 4 days of BattleTech in Burnsville, Minnesota. The event was hosted by Wolfnet Radio. As most of you people likely know, it is one of the most established BattleTech podcasts out there. As a matter of fact, it is the second longest running BattleTech podcast. They are also the inventors of AS350. I believe I'm saying that term right, which is essentially a competitive version of Alpha Strike. They're big proponents of that. They do a lot for the community. They've released a pretty robust package which people can play at their tables if they want, and they're running events and releasing episodes. So in terms of sitting on the shoulders of giants, our podcast is following theirs.
And we're only a few years from catching up to them in how many years they've been podcasting, right?
I think
like 4 years or something, we'll be caught up.
If they stop podcasting, are you cursing them, Michael? How dare you? No, they will outlast us. They will outlast us, Michael.
That is possible. That is like we'll take January off and never recover.
Who are we, lowly bunglers, to challenge the glory of Wolfnet?
Yeah, but they invited us down to come and play some games and meet some people, and that's what we did. We ran some games, we played some games, we shook some hands, kissed some babies.
I didn't kiss a single baby, and if there's any evidence of Michael kissing a baby, I don't think we're going to get invited back next year. I think that's like specifically in the politicians' pocket. I think as soon as you have the nickname Sensual Michael and you're going around kissing babies, there's going to be some challenges, some problems. People are going to question that.
No one, the whole time I was there, no one talked about me being sensual. And then I show back up on this podcast. All of a sudden it comes back out. I'm alluring, I'm seductive, I'm sensual. This friggin' guy. Sorry.
The only reason
it's the season of giving. I'm sorry, I should be more gracious. Thank you for the compliment.
The only reason I can say it is because I'm not sitting across from you right now. It's intimidating sitting across from someone at the table with such luscious long locks. The Fabio of the BattleTech podcast community. That's what you are, Michael. Never go on a roller coaster outside because you might have a goose hit you in the face. That's how much you were like Fabio.
I'm sorry, I completely derailed this. We went to KSAGG.
Yes, we went to KSAGG. And as you said, we did a few things. So what do we do? Let's break it down. So on the first day, we were invited to run a few missions of the global campaign. Objective was optimistically to run 3 missions of the global campaign in one day. So a single group would sit with us for 10 hours. I initially thought we had 12 hours, which I was ready for. And we would just play 3 missions through, and we'd do the downtime in between, the calculations and all that stuff. We ended up getting through 2 full missions with a little bit of time to spare, which was good. Then Michael and I participated in some games of our own on Friday and Saturday, which we can get into. And then on Sunday, we ran another game, a tactical operations-based game, where it was a team-based PvP game in which there was also some random BSP elements thrown into the mix as sort of a little incentive/balancing factor. And the whole concept of the game was mess around with TAC Ops rules. We created a little book which compiled some of our favorites, and we gave people stickers when they used them. And people loved the stickers. The stickers were a great success.
Yeah, people loved the stickers. Everyone else was handing out dice, a useful, practical complement to your arsenal. And we were handing out sticker sheets and then putting stickers on people's sheets when they were playing TAC Ops. And the crowd went wild. They loved those stickers. They're like, I'm going to blow up my own PPCs. Just give me more stickers, please.
Yes, that's right. It was people were all stickered up. It was like next year we should bring sticker books, not stickers. We should just like lean into this marketing. And then we can get a scratch and sniff BungleTech sticker, which would smell like burned oil and BO. That would be nice.
BungleTech, a sticker podcast.
Pivoting for season 4, straight into the stickers. So, what did you play in over the weekend, Michael? Other than the stuff we were running, what are you playing?
Oh, goodness. So on Saturday, I played in a PvP scenario, which was the crossing of the Königsfjord. It was sort of a clans versus inner sphere, pretty large scale, classic BattleTech scenario. I got to play with people who are clearly way more experienced at this and learned a bunch of techniques for how you run, like you keep bigger games with like 10 players in total, like moving with all these units, and like it was kind of chaos. Organizing things and forming like tactics was extremely challenging. The pilots of the hovercrafts were just zooming all over the place and slamming into walls. And I'm still salty about our loss to the clans and their cowardly strategy of zooming a single hovercraft around and technically capturing the back line while under a hail of gunfire. But you know, I've accepted that defeat in my heart, and it's deepened my hatred of the clans. So that was my Saturday. How about yours, Nathan?
So my Saturday was...
Wait, no, that wasn't my Saturday. That was my Friday.
Right, Friday,
friggin',
yes.
My sense of time is all distorted. 4 days is a lot of friggin' BattleTech, and it was like 10 plus hours every day.
Here's one thing I will say. 4 days is a lot of BattleTech, but I literally enjoyed the entire convention, which is actually says a lot about the organizers and the vibe of the events. It was a very special convention.
Yes, I would not have skipped a day, but also by the end of it, I was like done. I lost all perception of time around the first day, Thursday.
So my Friday was, well, we did 2 things on, wait a minute, that was your Saturday. Wait a minute. Oh yeah. No, what the
that
heck?
was my Friday.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
telling you, it's
Yeah.
time
Yeah,
distortion
that was your
field
Friday.
of KSAGG.
But on Friday, we also did aces together.
Oh, right. We also learned aces together. So that was my first game of Alpha Strike, was learning with the aces setup.
Yes.
And we talked to, what was the gentleman from who was developing aces that we talked to previously?
Josh from Linvander Studios. Yeah.
Anyways, we got to learn aces, and that was my first game of Alpha Strike. I really think the aces engine has like really like shinied up. You know, got to play it. There was like 6 of us playing at the table, all like cooperatively against the aces engine. It was a pretty tough, objective-oriented scenario. The aces opponent like worked pretty well and was pretty smart. We all got to sort of take our turns, like learning how to use it. I was learning the Alpha Strike system at the same time, but was still able to sort of grasp them both. And yeah, I think it's a neat system, and I'm sort of excited to see what the release package looks like for it.
That was the release package, what we were playing with. Yeah.
But I didn't get to read the whole scenario.
Oh, I see.
Anything.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, honestly, I thought it was clean. I thought it was polished. Like, you could tell that lots of the stuff that when we were talking to Josh about, like the tactics based on the commander, there was something that was going to be applied, has now been applied. I liked it. I'll definitely buy it, to be honest. I'm going to buy it and I'm going to play it for sure. It seems like, yeah, it's a fun, sort of casual, snappy way to play a PvE sort of scenario. It's not the type of thing I'll play by myself, but definitely PvE, I think, will be fun.
Yeah.
So like a few players at the table, maybe 2 or 3, crushing some AI. Yeah, I think that'll be a blast. There's lots of different scenarios.
If you're into like legacy games, it's got a bit of like a campaign element. So if you've got like a Gloomhaven group and you're waiting for the next Frosthaven expansion to come out or whatever, I don't know what Gloomhaven people do. But if you're one of those, you know, I don't know, move some mechs around instead. It might be fun.
Totally. And then after that, when you were playing your other game, I was playing Bourbon from the Valhalla Club's game Hunter's Paradise, which was basically a sort of pseudo PvE. Really, it was PvP, but it played out PvE as a focus with just certain instances in which the PvP came in there, in which there was a bunch of industrial mechs hunting dinosaurs, essentially getting out and trying to claim dinosaurs or trying to capture dinosaurs, and then for study, like I think what was it? Was it study or was it ecological? It was justified in lore. I forget.
Yeah, like Monster Hunter. It's all justified.
Exactly, like Monster Hunter, all justified.
And Nathan, I was standing there, and I was like, I checked in occasionally and saw sort of how your game was going, and sort of how do you feel it unfolded, especially in those first few turns?
With precision and excellence of a true MechWarrior pilot, his experience from the clans, without a single mistake. Every action intentional, with purpose and victory in mind.
Yeah. And when you slipped and fell in the river, you fortunately didn't crack open your head and die instantly.
You mean ducked in the river, dove in the river.
Taking cover from the dinos.
Like, I sensed the dinosaurs would see me unless I rapidly plunged myself into the river. As I did.
It was you tactically threw yourself to the ground in the river.
And hurt my ankle in the process. Ouch, my foot.
Ankle. And slowly limped your way into combat.
Yes. Well, as Michael is saying, in the game, I chose the Cattle Master industrial mech because it is a little devil-looking thing with a pitchfork, and I was like, this is insane that this exists in the BattleTech universe. I want to play as this, and I chose it also because it had the highest speed profile of anyone, which was 5'8". Unfortunately, I decided to go into the river. I could easily avoid it, but I decided to circle around through the river as my first movement because I was thematically thinking, hey, I'll get rid of my tracks by moving through the river, like a hunter would, because I was in theme, and I tripped in the one hex that the river was and fell and critical hit my foot and broke my foot actuator. So I made my movement profile 4-6 instead. So basically the reason I chose the mech was straight away thrown out in the first turn, and then I played the rest of the game crippled and became a little bit of a psycho. But that's what happens. People get hurt and they blame it on the world. They blame it on dinosaurs.
Crazy things happen in the wilderness, Sometimes you lose a bit of yourself out there.
I lost like 75% of myself in that wilderness. I'll tell you that much. It was a dark time. It was a dark time. People at the table are uncomfortable around me. They're like, Nathan, why are you stabbing the dinosaur? You're not supposed to kill them, right? No one tells me what to do when I look like a devil and I'm a mech. I'll tell you that much. The broken ankle. Nobody tells me what to do. But no, the game was super fun. It was super fun, and it was sort of the weird casual play that I like on the classic BattleTech table, or I like to see when people do scenarios like that. So kudos to you, Bourbon. It was a fun game. Really good vibe. Positive. And I'm always happy when the youngest player on the table wins the prize too. That's what ended up happening. It was a good enough vibe. It wasn't competitive. Like there could have been changes and stuff. People could have played in ways that made it like a little bit meaner, but people really had this fun sort of playful attitude, which resulted in, everyone coming out like, yeah, that was a blast. And like I say, a teenager at the table won this really nice painted dinosaur miniature. It's pretty sweet. You could tell they were stoked about it.
Mine was extremely competitive, except for the guy piloting our hovercraft who kept slamming them into walls and exploding. He was having a good time. Everyone else was super serious.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so that was Friday. And then Saturday, Michael and I formed up and joined the BattleTech. Oh, wait, not BattleTech. Joined the Alpha Strike Doubles Tournament. Michael and I pitted against the world. Played 3 games of Alpha Strike in the day.
That was, if for those of you keeping count at home, that was my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th games of Alpha Strike ever.
My 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And we used it as a learning experience.
Yeah. We're educating ourselves. Nathan had already set out the goal of winning the tournament, and we fell just short of that.
As I recall, you said in our last episode that we were going to come in there as big-brained classic BattleTech players and show everyone how easy Alpha Strike was. And I said, we better not do well, Michael, or people are going to think we were being serious. Well, we didn't get first, so we don't need to worry about that. But it was actually super fun.
Saying that, I don't think that sounds like something I'd say.
That's the good thing about this being published on the internet.
No one's going to go back and listen to that. It's going to be like
quick,
2
go
hours
back,
or
listen to
something.
it. Go back, listen to it. No, but that was super fun. What do you think of the doubles? We were recommended doubles by one of the event organizers because they said this is sort of a more relaxed way to play Alpha Strike. It's still competitive, but a little bit less serious than the singles tournament. And honestly, first players that we fought ended up third in the tournament, and they were Word of Blake After Dark. And we basically told them at the beginning, listen, we're scrubs, but really don't show us mercy because that's the best way that we can learn. And every game, like, we really learned quickly. And then by the end game, we were like, okay, or Michael learned at least. And by the end game, Michael's like, this is the strategy. Let's do this strategy, Nathan. This is what you should do. This is what I'll do. And it was very, very effective.
Yes. Thanks to our giant classic BattleTech brains, obviously.
Hey, we got 10th.
No, it was good. After like learning the Alpha Strike system, I'm chill with the Alpha Strike system. I sort of like classic BattleTech for various reasons, but Alpha Strike seems fun for sort of obviously the bigger groups and stuff. But then the AS350 doubles, in sort of a tournament setting, even though we weren't like playing super competitively, it was obviously a competitive setup, which is something I've never really done in classic BattleTech. Just it's not something I'm interested in classic BattleTech, period. Honestly, I don't think that the system suits it all that well, at least for my play style. But doing the competitive Alpha Strike was pretty fun in my opinion. It's the system's actually surprisingly like interesting and surprisingly sharp at times for like keeping track of like the tempo of the battle, controlling firing arcs and range bands, the importance of initiative and the structuring of your force and how it operates, on a strategic level, on a turn by turn basis. I actually had a good time. We were thankfully gifted a list by someone who knew what they were doing, but then just figuring out how to apply that, how to play the game, and our first game against the Word of Blake After Dark, like we went in with no strategy, sort of some like gut instinct, and there were elements of it that worked, but overall, like, we were not prepared for how sharp of a game Alpha Strike was, where having a unit hung out to dry for one turn means losing the unit, and then once you lose a unit, you're always on your heels because you just don't have the damage output, you can't cover the bases. And we were against people who they had a well-honed strategy, they knew how to do this. And so we sort of, that got our gears turning for like, okay, what do we do differently next time? It's going to be a different objective. We can't use the same strategy they did, but how do we come up with a strategy to play the objective? So yeah, it was a fun. We only played the 3 matches. It still took like 11 hours or something, but we learned something every time.
Yeah, I think one thing that I came out with it, which is like there's lots of fundamental differences, but to me, like, I almost need to understand systems from a philosophical perspective before I really can embrace them. And philosophical is the wrong word, but more of an abstract. I need to understand them more abstractly. And so the conclusions that I came out of was that, in Alpha Strike, I got to view my lance as almost elements of a mech. Just like in Classic, how I'm willing to spend armor, in Alpha Strike, you got to be willing to spend units. So a very similar parallel there. And in Classic, often you have to be thinking like 3 turns ahead in terms of movement. In Classic, it's really important to think, okay, I really gotta, it's like slow and steady increments that can eventually move you to a really advantageous position. And In Alpha Strike, similar to Classic, it's really a lot about movement. But in Alpha Strike, patience is very important. I think Classic, it's patience, understanding it across turns, like progress across turns. But in Alpha Strike, it's more about waiting for opportunities. So patience can sometimes be doing nothing in Alpha Strike, like just waiting, biding time, because you can move units really fast. And because the firing arc is only 180 in front, there is no torso twist. That like, wow, you get into someone's back, oh boy, they can't shoot you. They're having a bad time.
So yeah, the like tempo of knowing, when, because of the way in AS350 the movement works by sort of like unit groups, and initiative is a roll each turn. There's this whole thing about like waiting until you have the right moment of initiative and having yourself in the, positioning yourself turn by turn so that you can jump on an opportunity without exposing yourself, that the enemies can jump on you when they have an opportunity. And yeah, it's an interesting back and forth.
It's fun. I really enjoyed it. And honestly, I think that the environment, the fact that Lisp was built for us, the everyone who we were playing with, like, I honestly couldn't ask for a better comprehensive introduction to Alpha Strike, 100%. And like, it was really fun to see, like, I just was really actually proud and happy of us and how our understanding of the system tangibly evolved across each game. And like, it was like leaps and bounds, right? Because when you made a mistake, it was really clear. Oh, yeah. That was really a mistake. And then it's like, okay, keep that in mind. Like, I think it was maybe I'm understating it a little bit because where I am in Classic, but I feel like sometimes in Classic, it can really feel impossible because you have to think so many turns in advance. And if people are just like, and because the turns take so long, people just feel like they're locked into that individual round, right? They like, I can't think this far ahead. So you can really get trapped with the mentality. I think it's harder to get trapped in Alpha Strike because you can see how rapid things can swing and change.
Yeah.
That's my sentiment, at least.
Yeah. And especially sort of the tournament structure with the way it was laid out and the time that we had for each round, it always felt like you had to be pushing those objectives because the battle never had an opportunity to unfold until like a whole team was destroyed. It was almost always about pushing the objective at the right moment. And then, it would seem like time came up just as things were starting to like unfold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how long do they want to listen to a couple of Classic players waffle about how neat Alpha Strike actually kind of is.
Oh boy, more games to play. More games to play.
Yeah, add it to the list.
Add it to the list. So let's actually talk about who we met at the convention. So that's what we did essentially, but who did we end up meeting?
Well, first up are the fabulous organizers, which we can't thank enough for them sort of inviting us down and putting on in my opinion, a really fantastic convention. It's really something special. It's not like any conventions I've been to before, and that's sort of by design. So it was sort of the core of it is Wolfnet and specifically Andrew Krull, who's been doing this since the beginning, as well as our humble Patreon, Tom Dire Situation Bovey, who helped get us down there and situated and in participating. They were both like, really instrumental to us having a great experience, and I think a ton of people having a great experience who were visiting there. They did a fantastic job and deserve all the kudos that they get.
100%. Definitely kudos to them. We also met a ton of fellow podcasters, which were super cool. We met people from the Valhalla Club. We met Matt. We met Ben. I've said before that, I think Valhalla Club is like the frat club, or the like the frat BattleTech podcast out there. And honestly, their vibes were super good. Like, maybe I'm the frat guy because I'm saying vibes, but like they're super positive people, really friendly. If you ever get a chance to meet them at an event or participate in a game with them, really recommend it. And we both participated in games with them, so they were a great time. We also met, on the Origins Chandler and Derek and Mario from Armor Up. Also super rad dudes. We didn't have a chance to play with them, but really, I think how you see them in the podcast or how I've interacted with them online is exactly how they were in person. Just super cool. And,
very knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable, yeah.
Passionate.
Everyone was so much more knowledgeable than us. It's great. Yeah, they were smart and friendly dudes. It was great to catch up with them and chat with them. It was a privilege.
We also got to meet a couple of our Patreon patrons who called themselves out or sort of let us know that they were going to be there ahead of time. Both Rob and Thomas Klinkhammer. There might have been more, but we didn't know that you were patrons, so sorry about that. And along with Klint, he also brought a wonderful little gang of rogues that were delightful to play with. They were all in our first game on Thursday, and we played against a couple of them in the Alpha Strike tournament. We had Dalu Dreamer, Corvine Winterblood, and Paul Deep Ravener Crucial. You were all fantastic to play with. And obviously, thanks so much to our patrons, Rob and Technician Klint.
Yeah, and I will say, Technician Klint, so he's the individual who initially tried the first version of the Clan Kodama paint scheme, which then I was like, this is sick. I'm totally going to make our bunker paint job. This be the official one. And so we brought bunkers for actually to award them because they had won them as part of our draws. Some of our patrons there. So when we brought them down to give them out, it was sort of cool to see he brought the Jenner 2C that he had done in the paint scheme, and then we handed him his bunker that had been, done inspired by his paint scheme. I don't know. It was super cool to see him. Super, huge, just a huge thank you for his engagement with us and for him showing up. It was really sick to meet you, dude. And then we had, a variety of participants and players. We just want to give you a quick shout out. So Samuel Montgomery of Montgomery's Marauders, Classic Clint Vogel, Jimmy Bear's Jimbot, Zach Huber, Faber, the Wrecking Rejects, which we can talk about later, Levi, Jackal, Ray Rami, Joe, Ben and his Dragon Ball loving son. Yeah! We already mentioned the terrifying warriors of Word of Blake After Dark. And there's quite a few people that we did, meet really quickly. Apologize if we don't reference your name. Obviously, there's a lot going on at the convention, and we tried to write names down as we participated with people we got to make sure we give this person a shout out. But there was a lot going on. And thank you for, coming up. If you came up to us and were like, hey, I really like your podcast. I like the approach you're doing. And there were quite a few comments like that. It was a good feeling. We appreciate that feedback, and thanks for listening.
And I will mention, we put Jackal in the participants and players, but I believe they are now also a patron. But they were not a patron at the time of this event, so therefore they cannot be included in the patron section of the thank yous. That's just the rules. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're the rules I made up right now.
Well, I'm not going to argue them. Cool. So, the big question, what did we think of the event? Michael, what did you think of the event?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was really, really neat. I thought it was a different sort of take on the convention vibe, or sort of just as far as I could tell, and from talking to some of the organizers, it was pretty much like play a bunch of BattleTech all day and then hang out after that, and then wake up and do it the next day, and do that for 4 days. 4 days of BattleTech and hanging out with people who like BattleTech. And it's sort of we came in as definitely sort of the outsiders. There were only I think we were 2 of the 3 international travelers who were there, but it was super welcoming. Everyone was really friendly, even though we didn't have a lot of those connections to start with. We settled right into it right away. I had a really good time.
And you were nervous too, weren't you? Coming in.
Yeah, I'm not really like a convention going person. I don't tend to sit through a lot of panels. So for me a convention is usually spend a half a day walking through the booths and then go home. And that's my convention experience. So something that forced me to run some games, play some games, hang out with people, that was actually turns out pretty much all that I want. Playing games is fun, meeting people is fun, and that's all this was. That's what it was.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. How about you, Nathan?
Oh, you want my thoughts, Michael?
I want your
You
thoughts,
want to hear?
Nathan.
Oh.
An American penny, which is no longer being minted, for your thoughts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the American penny's going away. Finally, they're catching up to the glorious Canadian no penny nature.
When is that happening?
I don't know. I think it was while we were there or something. People were talking
Whoa.
about it. I don't know. I live in
Cool.
Canada. How am I supposed to know when they're getting rid of the penny? What are you talking
Man,
about?
being liberated from pennies was a wicked change. So I'm actually stoked. Oh, anyhow, that does bring me so much joy when we no longer had pennies in Canada. Anyhow, that doesn't matter. To the convention. Honestly, the convention was very, very amazing. I really enjoyed it. I didn't have, I kept my expectations very neutral coming in, because you never know what it's going to be like. You're flying down, you're meeting people you've never met before. You don't know what the vibe's going to be like. And obviously there's lots of personalities at play, and not in a bad way, but there were lots of established podcasts there, lots of people from the community that we've interacted with online, but we've never seen what those people are going to be like in person. I saw one thing, I was just super pleasantly surprised to see how real people were. Like I mentioned already about the podcasters, but people were very authentic. And I felt like everyone that we met in person felt like, oh yeah, you're the same person I've been talking to online. And generally finding that authenticity from online to the real world isn't that common. And so it was very it was 100%. People were just very much how they represent themselves online and in their podcast in person, which was really, really great to see. Let's talk about the organizers. Andrew, Tom, super, super passionate, super kind, with very little ego. And I think that must be, if you want to talk about someone who has the right to have an ego, it's probably Andrew from WolfNet, because he has done all these things, established all these things, done significant things for the Alpha Strike community, but he's still so down to earth. What can we do better? What was good? Really caring about the table experience and the players that were attending. Super authentic dude. Just the vibes, the positive vibes of the convention, 100% stem from him as the leader and the organizer of the event. His character is one of the reasons why the event was so successful in my mind, because everything sort of stems from that philosophy of leadership and the team that's built around it. As someone who's run conventions previously, I think I mentioned before, I used to run an anime convention in my city that grew pretty big. I think it's over, I think it's about 10,000 people now. There's something so special about a convention when it's this size and when it's small. So it's KSAGG 6th year. Every year they've sort of been increasing their size, doubling. I think next year they're locked in again for the same size, which I think is just around 150, 200 people, something like that. So very small at this level. I'm pretty sure if they want to, it will continue to grow. And what I would say is, if you want that special, community-focused, down-to-earth, really building relationships with people style of convention, you're there to play games. You're there to play games, you're there to meet people. You couldn't ask for a better convention experience than what we experienced at KSAGG 6. And lots of times that's lost when it gets bigger over time, but there's still going to be quite a few years left of this, especially if they decide to cap the growth. So I really recommend it. I thought it was well organized in terms of the amount of email communications coming out. I thought that everything for the level and the size of the organization, it felt like was probably a step ahead of where you'd expect an event that size to be. In general, super, I only have positive things to say. Truly only have positive things to say. And I think that once again really reflects the organizers, because, Tom Bovey, Andrew, and there were some other organizers that named I'm forgetting, that just the people that were senior that were up there, they really authentically cared. They were no BS individuals, and they were genuine. They weren't in it for the money. They're in it for the player experience and building community. And when you have that focus, you're always going to have positive, well, you're not always going to have positive outcomes, but you're more likely to have positive outcomes. So I'd be interested in going back for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a neat little thing.
That's my review. That's my feelings.
Yeah.
I'm going to start crying now.
Well, I can't criticize anything because it's your feelings, so.
All right. Well, what's your personal highlight of the trip, Michael?
My personal highlight was on the first day, the Thursday, we were running the Global Campaign Initiative. We got to Mission 2. Nathan had some questionable strategic choices that he led us in because we were playing the Op 4. We had 8 players at the table. And finally, after like our units being whittled away with the feed 1 by 1 strat, my queen suddenly, takes to the field. An annihilator bursts out right next to the enemy, right next to the player convoy, steps forward. Everyone's like, "Oh no, here comes the annihilator." I knew that thing was trouble. And so they promptly, just like a swarm of like angry Kodamas, they swarmed forward, shoved my annihilator over on the first turn that it was operational, and then proceeded to spend the next 5 turns crushing it into dust beneath their unfeeling metal boots over and over again, as my pilot was unable to do anything, regain consciousness, or stand back up. And, I think I fired once with the annihilator, and I think I like winged someone pretty smartly, but then I just died for the next 5 rounds. And it was a great time. Everyone had a fantastic time just smashing my annihilator to bits.
They just had so much fun being mean to you. It's great.
No. They're like, "Oh my god, it's an annihilator! Get him!" And they just rushed forward in like all manner of things. Big mechs, small mechs, mechs that had no right to be death from aboving me. But they did it. They shoved me over and just freaking kicked the poop out of me.
Yeah, it was a gang beating, all right.
How about you? What was your favorite moment?
So mine was also in the first day of the global campaign. So in the mission that Michael's talking about, the questionable strategic decisions is the mission's basically a convoy escort, and as the game facilitators, one of the rules you can do is you can do a later deployment of certain mechs, and you can also set up mech decoys on the field. But the thing is, you have to set up everything on the field before you know which side the players are deploying on.
Mm-hmm.
So we set up all
weird. Like you'd think you'd know where the convoy was going if you were ambushing it, but
wait, man, we're pirates or whatever. It was no good. Anyhow, so we deploy everything, we roll, and it turns out they're on the opposite side. So literally, they immediately see all our hidden units that were hidden behind stuff because there's hidden units in effect. So then, they see all our units, so we just have to play dead and make them think that these are all just decoys. And so they started moving to the battlefield, they started shooting units, and then they started, the husks, I called them, started falling down. And anyhow, my big mean unit was a Devastator. And it was in a hidden deployment, but when it spawned, its back was facing the people. So I couldn't move it because they know it wasn't a decoy. So they started attacking it, and I'm like, okay, it's okay. It has some meat. It can take some hits. So I'm just going to pretend. I'm just going to write notes down. I'm going to be sneaky in how I'm taking notes down to make them think that this potentially could be a husk. So they stop shooting it. And then I'm like, okay, let's deploy our delayed reinforcements. And the delayed reinforcements start coming in from both sides. So they're starting to pin the convoy. And I'm like, there's no way when they have this is going to be so great.
The whole time I'm listening to the players and they're like, "Hey, that Devastator, we shot it with more damage than the other husks. I don't think that's a husk." And they're like whispering this to themselves the whole time as Nathan's like, "Hold."
Because I just needed one more turn. Okay, but I'm not even joking. They were so close this thing, and they were coming up, and literally like, I was putting the pressure on, like, there's no way they're continue focus firing on this thing. There's no way. They're going to think it's a husk eventually. They're going to give up. They think they're just wasting ammo, and that's when I'm going to turn around. They get to a point where literally I am going to turn around the next round and just blow them all to hell. And they end up killing it perfectly with the exact, not one more, not one, obviously not one less, because it would have survived the exact amount of damage required to destroy it from behind. And they knocked out the Devastator before it could act. And I just thought to myself, why did you keep shooting this thing? Are you psychos? You have enemies coming from both sides that are active, that are coming at your convoy, and you keep on shooting at this thing that has done nothing to you. Why, God? Why?
And the players were just like talking across the table to each other and being like, told you. I knew that thing was real the whole time.
I would say that it wasn't the entire group. It was a specific, it was like a technician Klint's clan were the ones that were the paranoid people. The other people were like, I don't know if that makes sense, but their paranoia panned out because took out my Devastator without me even getting to take a shot. Exactly with how much it needed, not one more. Oh, so
Good
close. Good times. That was
being
my
the
personal
L4
highlight.
And getting absolutely wrecked.
Yeah, so I'll remember that for a while. God, they just committed so hard. So let's get to the negative, Michael. What was the worst thing of the trip for you?
Well, the worst time for me was when you and I were playing our Alpha Strike doubles tournament. Round 3, we got to face up against Deep Ravener and Delu Dreamer, who were excited to be seeing us again because, we'd played with them the first day. Now we were playing with them on day 3. This time against the table. I guess we were sort of against the table before, but now we were competing with each other. And, they brought their strats. We were implementing, running the calculations and coming up with our strategy for the third game to really prove ourselves. And turn 2, you sprint into their back lines. One of our opponents fatefully said, well, you're already behind me. You can't get more behind me, and chose to ignore your little Firemoth behind their Annihilator, which then on turn 3, you walked up directly behind the Annihilator, shot it once, headshot it, and destroyed it. And then they proceeded to spend the rest of the game slowly getting whittled off the battlefield by our now significantly superior firepower. Just continuously for the rest of the game. They could not quite keep up. We had more meat and more DPS, and it was just a slow grinding defeat for them, and I felt really bad.
And I felt nothing except victory.
Why did you do that, Nathan?
That was my second highlight, is the quote of, well, he's already in my back. He can't be any more in my back. and then ignoring him. And he just goes around, beep, 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 beep. And that BBB, man,
yep,
it gets you. That's a cheap mech. I understand why that's very powerful in the meta. Like, with overheat, man, short range, nasty.
Yep. So, we won that game, but I didn't feel good about it.
Wow. Nice. Well, that's of the worst thing to be. That's not a very worst thing. Well, I mean, depends how emotionally torn up. Did you cry
I felt
about
terrible.
Did you cry that night
I
to
still
sleep?
I'm going to cry right now.
Hold yourself together, man. You need to be the rational, emotionless one in this podcast. I'm the one with emotions. I'm the psycho.
All right. Give me your tear-jerking worst moment story.
It's sort of something that is now fond in my heart. So Michael and I are in our hotel room. There was someone beside us in the hotel room right beside us. And she was not part of the convention. She was just there to either, I don't think she was an employee. I think she was like someone who's staying at the hotel. And literally, Michael and I would get back every night, except she was already gone the last night. So for the first 3 nights, we would get back to our room. And from whatever time we were there till we would fall asleep, she would just be talking on her phone so loud, gossiping and exclaiming for hours. like she'd talk to someone and then maybe we'd hear like there'd be like a 5-minute pause or something like that. And she'd called someone else to gossip now. And like, she was like, total like valley girl, like, oh my God, can you believe that person did that? They're so horrible. And like yelling, like it was through the wall. We could hear it for hours on, like this person's endurance. Yep. Amazing. They were the gossip
every time
queen.
We came back to the room, sun up to sundown, gossiping away.
Gossiping away. You know, for some reason, I was thinking to myself, I was like, this is a weird thing. Like, what is this person doing in this hotel? They've come to decide to stay in a hotel, and literally all they are doing is calling different friends and gossiping. Like, why are they here? It just didn't make any sense to me. So it was sort of a little bit of mystery, but sometimes it was hard to go to sleep at night because you'd all of a sudden hear, oh my God, through the wall. And, but yeah, now, you know, next time I stay in a hotel, I hope that I have a similar experience. It could have been worse. It could have been, you know, intimate stuff. That's what would have been the worst. So
yeah, no.
Anyhow, this is a PG podcast. I mean, like we could have heard kissing through the wall. Yeah. We don't want to hear kissing, like big smooches, you know. You can't sleep to those smooches.
Yeah, they're loud, you
know. So that's what we felt about the event. That's what we did at the event. That's who we met at the event. Just, you know, another thank you. We want to give a big special thank you, a big special virtual hug, high five.
Big bungling high five that we missed slightly or misjudged what they're trying to do. Nice. We're going for the handshake instead, but they're trying to hug us, and we sort of awkwardly give them a one-armed hug at the end.
Yes. Perfect.
But it's a heartfelt half hug.
It's heartfelt. And then we pretend it didn't happen. Thanks for having us again. Thanks for bringing us down. It was truly an honor to meet you all. And I think it's pretty clear and transparent that we had a great time in the event. And we both think you're running a great event and are a great advocate for positivity in the BattleTech community. So thank you so much for bringing us down. It was rad. And as this is the time of year where we give thanks, a big thank you to you, listener.
You personally, and only you.
Once again, the singular listener in my house right now. Thank you for sitting beside me as I talk to Michael. Yeah, it's awesome. We appreciate your consistent engagement, the consistent growth, people that talk about us and spread the word of BungleTech. You cannot even imagine how much that helps us grow as you spreading stuff via word of mouth, you giving reviews, you sharing stuff on Reddit or whatnot. It's amazing that there are people out there that the BungleTech sort of vibe resonates with them. So thank you for your listening and for putting up with Michael. I know he's challenging.
Yeah. You know, I'm pretty tough to listen to sometimes. I'm just so full of so many crazy ideas, and sometimes I just say things without thinking. You know.
Stop doing that, Michael.
Yeah.
Use your brain, man. Use your brain, bro. That's what it's there for.
that's what. Sorry, I just can't, Nathan. I'll do better next year.
That's so relatable to me. Just can't use my brain. Next, we want to take a moment to thank all our patrons. It really makes a big difference. To be honest, like so far with BungleTech, because of our projects and stuff like that, all the support that we've gotten from patrons, you've really helped fund our projects. Like, for example, the creation of the STL, the creation of our art, all that stuff, all our costs. Like, without your Patreon support, really, we couldn't do this stuff. And it just makes BungleTech feel like a more fulsome experience. So we're going to run through the list. Obviously, there's some patrons. We're just going to mention active patrons right now. But to those that, you know, have come in for a few months and then disappeared back into the ether, thank you for your support as well. So a big thank you to our patrons, starting with our MechWarriors, Canaan, McKenna,
Ed Magilton,
HeyZeus,
Lorian, Sunrider,
Malathis, who is also one of our artists that paints our bunkers,
Metal Ed,
Phil Raider Roby,
Slurski Lispers,
our first technician, Blunderdome,
Chris Canaan,
DarkTremere,
Dire Situation.
Jack Lambert.
Keflyn.
Klint.
Matthew Hopper.
ML8211.
The Rock 3393.
And Zemer. And next, Bondspersons. Those that have been forcefully enlightened to the way of Clan Kodama. Arbriar.
Fiddler.
Fullmetal Gundam.
G.
Hilux.
Itswhatevan.
Offensive Titan.
Rob Carpenter.
Rob Prescott.
Stefan Gordon.
And William Becker. Thank you so much to all our patrons. As I say, BungleTech wouldn't be possible without you, very transparently. We wouldn't be doing the stuff we were doing, and the stuff we're doing is one of the reasons we keep doing this podcast.
Yeah.
The fact that we can grow, the fact that we can build these sort of merch products that we can then award to the community, the fact that we can make this art, all that stuff. Like, I think, honestly, if we weren't able or didn't have the capacity to do that, I honestly don't think I'd be doing this anymore. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for your consistent support. Thanks so much for being part of the community and you know, chatting with us, upvoting things, you know, picking things out of polls, all that sort of stuff helps make it feel like the podcast. We got a little group here. We got a community. And even if you can't be a patron, again, you know, all of the listeners, thanks so much for being here.
And with that, we're going to wrap up this episode in Kerensky Day fashion, because it is Kerensky Day, by giving each other a gift.
Customary Kerensky Day gift.
Michael, for you, I will give you a gift that is always good, that I give on every Kerensky Day to anyone, because you can't go wrong with this gift. I give you a Jenner. You're welcome.
Well, this is very embarrassing, Nathan, because I also got you a Jenner, but specifically I got you a Jenner that doesn't overheat, and it has 3 tons of comm gear for satellite connectivity.
Oh, how embarrassing.
Unfortunately, that's not wrapping paper. I did not get it gift wrapped. That's its armor.
Oh, well, what's 3 less pips? Oh boy. Well, you know, both 2 very tasteful gifts, Michael. Thank you for the Jenner, and I know you really embrace.
Yeah, thanks for the Jenner.
No returns, of course. Budgets have been tight. It is used, maybe stolen, but let's not talk about that on air right now. So that brings us to an end of our Kerensky Day episode of BungleTech, a BattleTech podcast.
Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for another wonderful year. 3 years already. Getting ready for year 4.
We're excited to return to our regular format come January, especially considering the global campaign is going to be winding down. All the majority of the work effort for the first season of the global campaign is wrapped up. So in our downtime, we're going to be returning to our more standard format, which I'm excited for, because you know what? I'm missing those stories of the Inner Sphere. Also, we have some pretty epic battlefield highlights that we can share, too. I've been noting some of them, specifically some to do with the playtest rules, too. So pretty excited to bring those to the podcast. So again, thank you. And as we shall end every episode eternally from now on, Michael, please take us out with the ceremonial Kodama Scream. And that brings us to an end of Season 3 of BungleTech, a BattleTech podcast. What a year it was. Venerable listeners, again, thank you for honoring us with your time. We wish you the most joyous of Kerensky days. Until next time, MechWarriors, good fortunes on the battlefield. Selah.
All podcast objectives complete. Podcast shutdown sequence initiated.